Claude just dropped what they're calling the best model ever. I run an AI company and I use Claude constantly. 21 active AI automations running inside my business right now, with 3,924 total runs completed and over 1,600 hours of work that's been removed from my team. And not a single one of those runs used Opus. So if you've ever felt that pull where a new model drops, everyone's talking about it, and you start wondering if you're falling behind, then this video is for you. Here's what I'm actually going to cover: what Opus 4.8 actually is, what the data from running real AI systems shows you, and why the model release isn't the question you should be asking. And I'll give you one question, one filter that cuts through every future model release, every new announcement, every "this changes everything" post you're going to see. And by the end of this video, the anxiety about keeping up will go away. That's the promise. So let me tell you about what actually happened with Opus 4.8. Anthropic dropped it the same day they announced a $65 billion Series H funding round. Their valuation is sitting at around $695 billion, and that is the context. A nearly $1 trillion company needed a headline and they released a new model. Now, what did the model actually do? It's the same price as Opus 4.7, but the core update is around honesty. The model is now less likely to exaggerate what it did. It won't tell you, "I pushed 50 new commits," when it only pushed 15. Now that's actually a real improvement for agentic workflows and genuinely useful for business use cases. Anthropic described it themselves as a modest but tangible improvement. And Nate Herc, one of the other great creators in the AI developer space, said exactly the same thing. Users will find Opus 4.8 to be a modest but tangible improvement on its predecessor. And that's the key: modest, tangible, incremental. And that's fine. That's actually how good engineering works. You don't rebuild the foundation every single cycle, you improve it. But here's where something goes wrong in the industry. When a new model drops, people treat modest but tangible like it means you need to switch everything immediately. But what I want to show you is what that looks like in reality. Inside my business right now, the systems are running on Gemini 2.5 Flash, GPT 5.5 Fast Tier, and a fast inference layer. And there are a couple other models that I experiment with, of course, as an AI company, but we need to have reliability in our workflows, and testing every single frontier is not our priority. And now those three handle the volume. They're dialed in, the workflows work, the outputs are good enough that 1,614 hours of work have come off my team's plate, and that's the number that matters to me. And nothing in Opus 4.8's release note changes any of that. And this is the thing I want to be precise about. I'm not anti-Claude. I use Claude. We're an AI company. We use ChatGPT. We use Claude. We use Grok. We use Gemini. The tool that solves the problem is the tool that we use. But the question I ask before switching anything is not, is this the best new thing? The question is, what does this fundamentally change what my business can do? Not incrementally improve, but fundamentally change. And Opus 4.8 is a better Opus, but it's not a different category of capability, so I'm not switching. Or at least I wouldn't switch tools from a completely different one if I'm already getting reliable benefit out of the existing tool that it solves the existing problems in the business. And here is the open loop I promised you early on. I said I'd give you one question that cuts through all of this. Before I get there, I want to name what's actually happening when people do switch, because it might be costing you something that you don't see until later. And that is shiny ball syndrome. In the AI industry, it is absolutely rampant. Something new drops every few weeks, and I see this pattern constantly. Someone builds a workflow, it's producing results, then a new model releases and they blow the whole thing up to integrate the new thing. And 3 weeks later, another model drops. They do it again. 6 months passed and they're still optimizing the stack instead of running the business. And the cost isn't the integration time, though that's also real. The cost is the compounding results they didn't get from the system that was already working. A system that runs 3,924 times doesn't get there by being rebuilt constantly. It gets there by actually running. This is what the data actually shows you. A workflow that runs the same way 10,000 times is worth more than one that runs on the freshest model 100 times before you swap it out again. Stability is the strategy that compounds. So here's that question. Every time a model drops, every time an AI company killer tool releases, every time someone in your feed says you need to switch, ask this question. Does this change what's possible, or does it change what's marginal? And that is the whole filter. If the answer is it does things I genuinely cannot do today, investigate it, run a test. Maybe it earns its way in. If the answer is it does what I'm already doing but slightly better at roughly the same cost, that is a marginal change. And marginal changes do not justify workflow disruption. So Opus 4.8 is a marginal change, a good one nonetheless, one I might route specific tasks to over time, but not something that touches my 21 running systems. Now, I want to give you the full picture here because I'm not telling you to ignore model releases forever. There are genuinely some significant jumps happening at the moment. When GPT-4 dropped, that was a real leap. When long context windows got serious, that opened workflows that weren't possible before. When fast, cheap inference tiers became reliable, that changed the cost structure of automation completely. Those are what's possible moments, and they're worth reorganizing around. But most releases aren't that. Most releases are incremental. They're good engineering, they move the field forward, and they don't require you to touch anything that's producing results. The signal is in the capability gap, not the benchmark scores. And the last thing I want to say is this. I understand why the anxiety exists. The AI space is moving genuinely fast. There are people building real companies on this technology, and they're watching every release wondering if they're already behind. That feeling is not irrational. The pace is actually real. It's happening so quickly right now. But here's what I've found from actually running these systems and building them for clients. The businesses that pull ahead aren't the ones with the freshest models or the newest tech. They are the ones who picked something that worked, built it deep into the operations, and let it compound over time. So that 1,614 hours off my team and 250 odd grand in time costs saved, that came from systems that run consistently, not from chasing the latest releases. Consistency is what compounded, and every time you switch, you reset that clock. Unless, of course, the model release is something that you can plug into your existing workflow and doesn't disrupt the entire workflow. So the next time Anthropic or OpenAI or Google or Grok drop something new, and don't get me wrong, they will, probably next week, ask the question, does this change what's possible, or does it change what's marginal? And if the answer is it's marginal, then don't worry about it. Go and run your business and just wait until something that actually will fundamentally change the way you operate, then you can switch. And if it's a genuinely new capability that I really believe or you believe will fundamentally change the way you operate your business, then consider investigating it, testing it, and implementing it into your workflow. And I'll also likely make videos about it because my lens is always how can we make sense of the AI landscape for business owners and convey the fundamental truths of the industry so that you can actually scale your business and not get caught in AI hype. So anyway, we've come to the end of the video. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And if you've gotten value out of this video, I'd love if you hit subscribe. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.